I feel terrible about our argument, but we gotta talk about some things.
Okay. But you must keep your voice down because you know who just put in new batteries.
So, I may have overreacted last night, but you have to understand, I'm not gonna be a mom for much longer. Elena is having her quinces. Alex is already using hair gel. And, soon they're gonna be out of the house. I need you to give me more space to parent.
I understand what you are saying. Don't put me in a home.
What, Mommy? No, I'm not gonna do that. I would never do that. I would never do that. Never.
Oh, no?
No.
I love that scene. I love that scene. What happens is that she said, look, I got all these messages.
Yeah, and we know why.
She said, let me listen to this one. And she goes, I got to change my number right now.
Well, that was a scene from One Day at a Time, the new Netflix show, which launches tonight at midnight, so technically Friday the 6th.
Wow.
So it's happening, and people are going to binge watch this thing. That's the great thing about Netflix. You can watch every single episode.
It's so funny.
I can't wait.
It is so funny. And I play this very big character. She's a diva. She's vain. She just thinks she's God's gift. That's always fun to play.
Her name's Lydia.
Her name is Lydia.
Lydia.
Yes, and she talked like this.
Yes, I hear. So we're going to jump right into it.
My mom. I was just doing that.
I was going to say, I heard a little Googie Gomez in Lydia.
And Googie Gomez is really based on my mom.
Which is, of course, your legendary character from
on
Broadway.
Right.
And, I mean, let's just go right into it. You want to talk a little bit about that character and about your mother and the way that she influenced this
my
language?
The English is an extremely difficult language. And, the rules, there's so many rules, some of them made to be broken. It's just impossible. And my mom had trouble with J's and Y's. She would juxtapose. Do you know what I'm saying to you?
Oh, what about when she first
I am
met?
Wearing my pajamas.
When she first met your husband-to-be, Lenny.
Oh, my God. When I met my husband, when I realized that my husband and I were going to be husband and wife, I went to my mom and I said, okay, the Jew and the Puerto Rican. And it's like all of the Bronx went, ay, 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 ay. And the other part of the Bronx went, oy, 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 oy. And I said, Mom, we really have to make peace. I mean, you're going to love Lenny. He's a nice Jewish doctor. And she said, you are right. We have to make peace.
We have to make what now?
We have to make peace. That's how she pronounced peace. The name of the book was not War and Peace. It was War and Peace. So Lenny comes to my house, knocks on the door. My mom opens the door, takes one look at him, and she says, Jew are a you? And Lenny said, what? Are Jew a you? And that poor man got so nervous, he actually said, yes, I am. I mean, she came up with words. Oh, my God. She embarrassed the hell out of me. When I was a kid, I had a little girlfriend named Angela, who, of course, in my house was Angela. And she came over for a play date one day, and it was really hot, really, really hot, as can only happen in Manhattan. And my mom starts pacing up and down the apartment and saying, ay, Dios mío, this heat is going to kill me. So I said, I'll tell you what we are going to do, girls. We're going to have pack a picnic lunch and have a nice swim at the beach. Yeah, it's funny now. And then another time, we used to change the linens on the beds, like every month and a half. And Mommy would say, Rosita, today is Saturday. Do you know what that means? What, Mommy? it's time to change the shits.
Oh man! And were you aware at this age of what it
was I
sounded like?
aware? I was dying of embarrassment all the time. In fact, when she said about going to the bitch and having a nice swim at the bitch, I took her aside. I was so embarrassed. And I said, Mommy, A-E-I-O-U. Can't you say beach? Can't you say sheets? And she said, no, I can't. And I said, why, Mommy? She said, because I got trouble with my bowels.
Oh man, it never ends.
Endless.
Well, I have been digging deep into your memoir.
Yes, you have.
And obviously, yeah. And,
I can tell.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg on some of the amazing
Yes,
stories
it is.
therein. And you actually, you wrote the memoir after doing a one-woman show at one of our favorite regional theaters, Berkeley Rep. And you have had, I mean, to say your career is legendary is like an understatement. You are
one Puerto Rican in the audience.
You are not only an EGOT, you're an EGOT, multiple Emmys.
I am now a KeyGot.
Yes, you have the Kennedy Center honor.
honor.
You're actually well, you're a SKIGOT, right? Because you also have that SAG award.
Yeah.
I don't think we could.
And she's Puerto Rican.
I mean, okay, so one of the through lines of your memoir and obviously of your life is this give and take between wanting to be the all-American actress and being Puerto Rican and having such pride in that. And there were times when you could only get work as, what was the phrase that you used? The all-purpose ethnic?
It was the all-purpose ethnic in movies at the time. I mean, this is way before your time, but yeah, and I developed an all-purpose accent so that anytime it was a dark-skinned creature, I got the part. And of course, these parts always called for accents. So I developed what I call the universal ethnic accent.
So you were doing the same accent as a Thai girl in The King and
I was playing a
and
Thai girl, I would sound like this. If I was playing a Hawaiian girl, I would sound like this. If I was playing an American Indian girl, I would sound like this. You get the picture? So that was my all-purpose accent. They all sounded the same.
And then you started to become resistant to playing these ethnic characters.
Well, and I just not only I hated it. I thought it was insulting.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just dreadful. I thought, and I was right. But at the time, there wasn't a whole lot I could do about it. Either I would play those roles or I wouldn't work at all. And I was just convinced, absolutely convinced, and I think this is what it takes, that one day, somehow, someone would say, this girl has talent and I want to put her, in a good role in something. But let me tell you, it took a long time.
Yeah.
When I did West Side Story, I was already 30 playing a kind of teenager.
Mm-hmm. Well, that role, I mean, I remember being a little girl and watching that role and having a new understanding for what acting in musicals could really be. And I mean, I could watch that film over and over again. In fact, I got to. Did you get to attend the New York Symphony Orchestra's performance of the film for its anniversary?
So,
a few years ago?
I heard all about it, but I never got to do it because I never got to be there because I was always working, doing something else.
Well, you certainly have been busy. Well, but see it on the big screen with that music.
I was just 85.
Yeah, happy birthday, by the way. Whatever you're doing, we all need to be doing it.
I was just 85 and I wear leather.
Yeah, she does. So everyone wear leather and you can...
I'm a
you
contemporary 85.
I love it. Okay, so let's talk about One Day at a Time. This is the Norman Lear classic show from 1975. It's been...
Which originally was with an all-American cast.
That's right. Now it's a Cuban family, right?
Now it's a Cuban family, and it is so... Well, you got a little example. And just this morning, I appeared on the early show, and I sang Happy Birthday to Charlie Rose, but I sang it to him as Lydia, my character, would, with the accent. It was, Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sally. Happy birthday to you. He loved it.
I'm going to clip that out and send it to everyone I know on their birthday. So there is one line in your memoir where you say, when you're starting to talk about getting older and show business, and you say, in fact, one time I met with Norman Lear, and he said, you can't play 60, even though I was 60.
It was the first and only time I met Norman Lear. I wanted to see him about playing the wife in a pilot that he was making, and I'd never met him before. And I walked into his office, and he said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I'm here to try out for the part of the wife." The actor was a man named Charlie Durning, who was in his 60s, and he said, "Never." He said, "What? You don't? I've never looked my age. I just never have. It's them Caribbean genes or something." Anyway, but I hadn't worked. I hadn't worked in a movie or a TV show for 2 years, which for an actor is like being dead. And I said, but I said, "Norman, I'm 66." And he said, "I don't care." He said, "Honey, you just don't look like you could be this man's wife." And I went to my car and I sobbed and cried. So I said, "The one time I met you in my life before this is when you made me cry, because I couldn't get a job." It's such a bizarre kind of twist, isn't it? I never looked my age, so I was always losing roles as I got older for people my age, but I didn't look it.
Right.
That was, somebody says, "Oh, well, what a great problem." I said, "No, it was not great because I wasn't working."
You wanted to work,
It
yeah.
was heartbreaking.
So you have met
I
him
was
since,
cursing
obviously.
my no wrinkles.
How involved was Norman in this new version of One Day at a Time?
Oh, completely. The man is 94. I mean, he and I are old farts, right?
Is he wearing leather?
I wouldn't put it past him. And, well, I'm just a dirty old lady. But you know what I love about my character, too, is that she's sexy. That you haven't seen that part of it yet. You'll see it when... But I asked the writers, I said, make her sexual. Why should, people who are older not be sexual? You don't forget. You don't forget what that feels like and sounds like. And they did that for me, and she's a shameless flirt. I mean, this woman will flirt with a fence post. Someone who is way younger than she flirts with Schneider. She doesn't just say hello to him. She says, "Hello, Schneider."
Well, he is exceptionally handsome, so I don't blame her
I just
for
saw a
that.
sign back there that said, "Fuck yeah."
Yeah, we have some graffiti on the walls in here. I think it's spelled with an X in that graffiti. But
F-X-C-K. It still says fuck as far as I'm concerned.
and so do you, apparently.
I was in the Philippines a whole bunch of years ago, speaking of fuck. And
Can you come back every day, please?
Well, I told you I'm contemporary, but a lady was helping me pack my bags. Now, in the Philippines, and anybody who's Filipino will tell you this, F's are pronounced like P, and P are pronounced like F very often. It's just the way it comes out in the Philippines. And this lovely lady who was the housekeeper for the hotel was helping me pack my bags. But before that, she asked me, she said, "Can I help you fuck your bags?" And I remember saying, "Hey, to each his own."
She should meet your mother.
But also the same thing, the cameraman who was on the movie that I was making in the Philippines, I fell down going up a hill one day to shoot something. And I fell down on my keister, and he said, "Rita, are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." He says, "Is this okay?" I said, "That's fine." He says, "Oh, good, because that is the best fart." That is the best fart. He meant that is the best part. I thought that was charming.
Tell me about this movie that you were filming there.
Oh, it was a piece of crap.
Too much, though, to even give it a plug?
Oh man, it was a World War II movie, and I was playing it was still the war. And by the way, this is the movie I was making when I came to America to pick up the Oscar for West Side Story. which is
Oh, yeah, and they gave
interesting.
you 3 days off, one for travel, one
Literally.
for the awards, and one to travel
You
back.
do your homework, girl. That's it. That's all the time I had. But yeah, and I played this girl named Sisa, who was a what they called a gorilla, in the jungle and all that kind of stuff. It's a horrible movie. And I remember that this was after West Side Story. I thought, man, I'm back to the same shit again. And then I, went to America from there and won my beautiful Oscar and the Golden Globe as well.
So you're like a skegagot. I'm trying to put all of those awards into one acronym.
Yeah, I got them all. It's called what the EGOT, right?
Well, right.
Now it's the KEGOT because
Right, but then you've got the S for the Screen Actors Award, and you've got the other G
Well,
for
that's
the Golden
recent,
Globes. I know.
yeah.
Well, okay. So the Oscar was the first of many very memorable awards acceptance speeches you've given.
Oh.
Because that one with the Oscar, you were just like, I can't believe it. Bye.
I couldn't believe that Judy Garland didn't win because she was up for the what was a movie she made about the war?
I don't know. I didn't research her.
What was it? Huh?
Judgment at Nuremberg.
Nuremberg, right.
Thank you.
And I thought, well, surely she's going to win it. But, I want to fly into the States just in case. And I really did not believe I would get it. But at least they would say, and also nominated are blah, 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 Rita Moreno. And when they called my name, I had nothing prepared. George Chakiris and I, who were up for Best Featured for the Oscars that year, West Side Story was a huge, huge, mammoth hit. We both won, but we didn't expect to. We really didn't. So I had nothing prepared. Now I know better now, but I went up on stage and I literally I was handed this beautiful golden man, and I just said, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. That's all I could come up with. And I actually said, I leave you with that. and I thought, oh, well, I'll never be unprepared again. And of course, how many times have I had a speech and not used it?
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
You got to do the work, and you did the work. I love your Tony speech when you won the Tony for The Ring. And I know that you've said that you maybe overstepped a little bit, but I think it is one of your best moments ever.
Well, I was playing this very crazy Puerto Rican character who sings and dances. Her name is Googie Gomez, but she has absolutely no talent, none, which is what's so funny about her. But she has great taste in music, and she sang like in the play, she sang, I had a dream about Joe, baby. It's gonna come true, baby. They think that we're through, but baby. She's terrible, terrible, terrible. And when she said, but they think that we're through, but she throws her head back and her wig goes back an inch. And she's just a great character. So when I went on stage to accept the award, I said, in the words of Googie Gomez, listen, chicos, what the hell did I say?
You said,
That's
because
what
it was...
happens. When you're 85,
No.
that's the only sucky part of 85.
So
you forget stuff.
You were won for best
Supporting.
featured
Oh, that's right.
actress.
The only
Yep.
thing in this show that I support is my beads. And everybody's, wah! But
You argued that Googie would not accept a supporting actor
no,
role because she was the star of her show.
exactly, she was the lead.
And then recently you had a beautiful acceptance speech for that SAG award.
Oh, that was wonderful. Yeah,
You
I
did it
worked
in
really
song.
hard on that, and I remember that because this is one award, the Life Achievement, where you're chosen by your peers, fellow actors and actresses. That's it. They're the ones who choose for that year. In fact, Debbie Reynolds got it a couple of years ago, and they said you have 3 minutes. And I said, 3 minutes? This is beforehand. I said, I'm Puerto Rican. I can't say hello in 3 minutes. They said, well, that's all you have. I worked so damn hard on that speech, or that acceptance speech. And in fact, I heard that Oprah, Actually, my manager overheard Oprah say afterward that that was the best acceptance she'd ever heard up till that time. Anyway,
It was
which
beautiful.
was pretty. It was a wonderful one. Yeah.
Well, you did mention Betty. I'm sorry, you mentioned Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah.
And
We were at MGM together.
that's right. Well, I
When we were
love
very young.
the story from Singing in the Rain, where you were in a few scenes, but you would go to the set every day so you could watch your fellow actors work.
Oh,
Can you talk a
Gene
little bit
Kelly.
about working
Oh
with
my God,
those
Gene
superstars?
Kelly. Gene Kelly just blew me away, and he put me into. It was the only time at that time where I played a character that wasn't Hispanic and a stereotypical Hispanic. I was playing a character named Zelda Zander, a silent movie star with a bright red wig, and it was marvelous. But I have to tell you a story about Debbie.
Yes.
It was a delicious story. We became friends during the movie, and one time she said, "I'm going to go perform for my high school," which I thought was really generous of her. It was really nice of her. So I said, she said, "Meet me at my house." So I met at her house in the valley, and I watched her get ready, and she undressed and put on the outfit she was going to wear. And then, to my absolute amazement, she looked in the mirror. She was looking at the mirror up above the dresser, and she took 2 powder puffs and stuck them in her bra. I thought, so she's not all that big. But she had no shame whatsoever, no embarrassment. She just stuck these big powder puffs in her bra. But
love it.
she was a lovely person.
Yeah. Well,
A
thank
very
you for sharing
sad
that story
person.
for us. She was. Yeah.
Well, sad in the last few years, particularly. Apparently, because I heard Carrie Fisher talk about this on PBS, public radio, that she had a couple of strokes this year.
Wow.
So I guess it wasn't easy for her to cross over once she heard the dreadful news about her daughter, with whom they apparently had a really love-hate kind of relationship.
Yeah. Well, we will certainly miss her, and all the more reason that we are so just blessed and given the gift of to have you and to hear these stories and to have you continuing to work as much as you are. And I want to make sure we mention the fact that you're going to actually be making some appearances where people can come and see you.
Yes, yes.
There's one in
I'm going to be
Connecticut.
doing
and-
cabaret. There's one in Connecticut. They're all over the place, and some of them I'm doing talks about my life, and some of them I'm singing because I am still very active singing. So
Oh, your voice. Oh, by the way, we have to mention your album.
you were playing it when I came on.
Una vez más.
That was me.
It is so amazing. And we're going to get to some questions from the audience. Before we do that, I have been listening to this album nonstop.
Have you?
Yes, and it's like, I know you have referred
It's in
to yourself.
Spanish for those who don't know. And it was produced by Emilio Estefan.
and he
Gloria
found you.
Estefan's husband.
Didn't he suggest this after your SAG Awards speech?
Yes.
He heard you singing a
Yes.
cappella, and he was like, "We got to do an album."
He heard me singing a cappella because I sang a little bit of a song when I accepted the award for Screen Actors Guild. And that's when he said, and I hadn't even met him at the time. When I met him, he said, "We have to do an album."
Except it didn't sound like
He said,
that,
"No,
right?
you have to do an album with me." He said, "For posterity and because you're going to leave a legacy."
And you
And he's a
certainly
lovely
have.
man.
Oh,
They are lovely people.
I
Oh
know,
my God.
I know. I
They're
went
so
to the,
funny.
You hosted a beautiful talk
And
with them at the 92nd
Gloria
Street Y.
sings One Day at a
Yes,
Time.
she does the theme song.
It's a Latinized version of One Day at a Time.
Ugh, I cannot wait. Tonight at midnight, I'm going to be staying up and watching the entire series, binge watching it. Let's go to a couple questions from
You
the
were
audience.
wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
You were wonderful. You did your homework, girl.
Thank you, Rita Moreno. It is my pleasure. Now let's take some questions.
Good morning to you
Morning.
and to Laura. Now that One Day at a Time is being reimagined, were there any dream roles that you had back then or going that went to a white woman, a black woman, or even a man
Yes.
that you wished you
I
had?
can be
or-
specific, too.
Okay.
Dish the dirt, girl.
All the roles that Meryl Streep has done. No, I'm serious. But the only time you can get to do stuff like that is on the stage. And that's the wonderful thing about doing theater. The not wonderful thing about doing theater when you're 85 is doing 8 shows a week. But I did master class where I played Maria Callas. And I've done, a number of things in theater and stage. I played Sunset Boulevard, that wonderful, crazy woman. All the big
You
women.
played Gypsy.
I played Gypsy Rose Lee's mom.
Yeah,
I
you
was
pla-
Mama
and-
Rose.
and your daughter
My
was
daughter
Gypsy.
played Gypsy.
Yeah.
My daughter and I did a whole bunch of concerts together when she was 16.
Was it hard singing
We
that
danced
song?
America from West Side Story, she and I.
You and your daughter. When you played Mama Rose, was it hard to turn off the Googie accent?
No,
Because
not at all.
you'd sung it so many times with.
No. When you do Mama Rose, you do Mama
Yeah.
Rose. And the best part of doing Gypsy for my daughter, whose name is Fernanda Luisa, and she looks like that too. She's gorgeous, but I'm not prejudiced. The best part of doing it is that she gets a scene, a real stopper, like a showstopper scene in the play where she tells off her mother. And my daughter got her rocks off every night. I said, I'll bet you love this scene, huh? She said, yeah.
Oh my gosh!
She tells off her mother. I mean, it's a great scene.
You know what that reminds me of, and we're going to go a little long because I want to hear this story. It reminds me of the story of you and Marlon Brando when you were filming a film together, and you were like, maybe I'll slap him for real this time.
No, and what happened was that I really have a really hard time hitting people. I had to do that once with Faye Dunaway. She did a TV version of Evita, not the musical, but the story of Evita Peron. And I played a lady that she was very jealous of. And we had to do a scene where she slaps me and I slap her back. And I just really have a hard time. And she got very impatient with me. And she said, just do it. And this isn't the Marlon Brando story. This is the Faye Dunaway story. And we were wearing period costumes with those, corsets that pushed up your bosoms. And I finally got up the nerve, and I smacked her. And she was kind of shocked at how hard it was. And she put her hands, this was not planned, put her hands into my bodice and put her fingernails on my nipple.
Oh my gosh!
And then I got really upset and I smacked her again.
Please tell me that
That was not
used.
pleasant.
I bet it wasn't. Did they use
my
that
poor
in the
little
film?
breast was going, help, help, meow. That's how my breasts sound when they're in distress.
Did that scene make it into the film?
Oh yeah,
That fight with
yeah,
the grab and
but nobody knew what was. They just thought she was putting her hand in my bodice. Period. But my little breast will tell you was more than that.
I am definitely going to watch that scene as soon as we are finished here. Do we have one more question from the audience?
Hey Rita, thank you for being here, right here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you, everybody.
What's been the most rewarding role in your career thus far?
Oh, it had to be West Side Story. Out of nowhere, I got these two astonishing awards. I got the Oscar, and I got the Golden Globe. People forget about that one, but I also got that. And P.S., for the next 7 years, I didn't make one lousy movie.
Yeah, that is
Show business is a very distressing kind of business.
because you stuck to
Broke
your
my heart.
morals.
I didn't want to play the same role again, and I kept getting offered the same kind of roles again in lesser movies and stuff. And I said, no. I put my little gold man under my arm, and I said, I'm not going to do that anymore. And I showed them. I did not do a movie for 7 years, and it broke my heart. Broke my heart.
Well, here
How
you
can
are.
win an Oscar and a Golden Globe and then not do another movie. It's crazy.
It just goes to show that this is not a business where anybody can
Oh.
ever sit back and relax.
You have to have a tough skin. And the toughest part about that is that in developing a tough skin is that you don't want to become as hard as your skin. You still want to be the soft, vulnerable you that you've always been. That's the hardest thing to hold on to when you're in the business, not to get hard, not to get cynical.
Well, I mean, you're so delightful, and you have certainly kept that humanity. We have time for one more question. from the audience, and then unfortunately we're gonna have to say goodbye.
Okay.
Hi, Rita. Thank you for coming. So I saw that you were a recipient of an honorary degree from Berkeley. Congratulations. But more importantly, I saw your...
Berkeley Music School.
Yes.
In Boston, a very famous school where musicians go to. And in fact, the Estefan daughter, Emily, was graduating the day of what you're going to refer to, I'm sure.
Yeah. I was going to say, more importantly, I saw the commencement speech where you rapped, and I'd like to know if you could rap a little for us.
Speech. I rapped I wanted to do something different, and I thought, you know, every commencement speech, no matter how brilliant, and some of them are still saying the same thing. And I thought, I want to say the same thing, but differently. And it was my manager who came up with it, and it went viral, by the way. It went viral. It was on every network, everything. And you can watch it on YouTube, by the way. And it's all in rap, but it says all the things you're supposed to say to students who are graduating, who are going into a brand new life, but it's done in rap. And of course, I did the hand gestures. And all that. The kids went crazy.
Do you remember any of it?
The professor. Oh, I wish I.
I was going to put you on the spot.
No,
make
but
you, make you rap it right now.
I do a song in rap in my concert act. You want to hear a little piece of that?
Yes, we would.
Now let's see if I remember it. Oh God, I'm 85, you know. It's a song that's an homage to New York City. It's a wonderful song called New York City Rhythm. No, New York City Blues. Quincy Jones wrote it, and then I added a rap to it, and it starts like this: the designer hot dog, Carnegie pastrami. The roasted chestnut, gourmet salami. Tiffany's, Bloomies, the game at Shea, tourists from the Orient clicking away, the Statue of Liberty, Times Square, block-long billboards selling underwear. The good part's coming up. Tiffany's, Bloomies, the game at Shea, tourists from the Orient clicking away, the Statue of Liberty, Times Square, block-long billboards selling underwear. The Bowery, Hell's Kitchen, Lower East Side, Sardi's, the Donald. Puerto Rican pride.
Yeah. Rita Moreno, you could do anything, and I am so proud to have gotten to know you a little bit more today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.